Each member of our group will take one article read this week to apply it to the theme. I have interest and idea in transnational crime. States deal with transnational crime solely based on interest as they seek to maintain their claim to the monopoly of legitimate authority that criminal organizations seek to undermine. With transnational criminal activity, each state must cooperate with the others to curb the illegal activity, but their main interest will always be in maintaining and retaining their monopoly of the authority in the social, legal, territorial, economic, and judicial realm at home. And often there's tension between states involved as they navigate who will have the authority in establishing the norms for punishing and dealing with the transnational criminal activity.
I would like to thank Rebecca for her explanation on ideas and interests in relation to the article on transnational organized crime in the state by Phil Williams. Now I'll be moving on to Security Beyond the State by Abrahamson and Williams. We see interest played out across the board with state interaction in what Abrahamson and Williams describe as global security assemblages. It's within state interest to hire private security as they can handle the day-to-day activities that soldiers normally have to do. This frees up soldiers for states to actually use those soldiers for battle. But it's also the idea that unjust or not so nice action by a private security force falls under the umbrella of private security force and not the state that is something appealing for the state. This is by no means an erosion of state power, but the idea that private security forces can simply do a better job than states can. That experts from across the world can offer their expertise in private security forces that appeals so much to states.
As Eric noted, it is often in the state's best interest to manage its own security. This security, which can be defined in both the domestic and international context, greatly hinges on a state's ability to control the means of coercive power. Presently, state actors are faced with the daunting task of de-escalating the threat posed by post-Cold War nuclear arsenals. Bruce Blair of the World Security Institute argues that not only is it in the best interest of a state to de-alert its nuclear armament, but that a fundamental shift in ideas is required to establish greater overall global security. He states that without visionary new presidential guidance, the default position will be the traditional one, and the path of standing down the Cold War postures will be obstructed. Blair's argument suggests that by shifting ideas away from the preference for the use of violence, states would be acting in their best interests.
With regards to nuclear weapons, Hugh Gostner talks about the Western ideology that creates an us versus them mentality. The West believes that the East is impulsive and emotional, therefore only them are rational and disciplined enough to own nuclear weapons. According to Hush, Western discourse on nuclear proliferation is ideological in four senses. It makes ownership of nuclear weapons by only superpowers natural and reasonable. It presents the security needs of the superpowers as if they are always in conjunction with that of the rest of the world. It continues deprivation of the underdeveloped world, and it legitimates the nuclear monopoly of superpowers.
So to go off of what Yepri was saying, it's important to tie it into the Goldstein and Cohen argument that worldviews and principal beliefs dictate a state's decision making. And you see this in the Gusterson article with the West and how their ideologies dictate the nuclear proliferation regulations around the world because the West assumes that their security priorities are the same as everyone else's. So to conclude, I think that we've all done a good job looking at all the different readings, transnational organized crime, global security and international politics, increasing warning and decision time, and nuclear weapons and Western imagination that can really tie together how interests and ideas link to control of violence and public authority.